You've probably seen this ad.
Founder of DollarShaveClub.com. For $1 a month, we send high-quality razors. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great.
A guy in a warehouse riding a forklift telling you razors are a ripoff and his are so cheap you'd be dumb not to switch. That ad cost $4,500 and it was shot in one day by a friend. The video went live in March 2012. The site struggled under the traffic and roughly 12,000 orders arrived within the first 48 hours. That one ad started a snowball of $1 billion company, but years later the company started to quietly die. By the end of this video, you'll know why their cheapest price was never actually the deal, how they got their own audience wrong, and why the fix for all of it is probably sitting in your Shopify settings right now. Let's start with the fact that Dollar Shave Club never really sold razors. It sold a subscription and the razor just happened to be what showed up in the box, on schedule whether you needed it or not. That's the entire trick and it's the part everyone misses. And here's something clever. They didn't make a single one of those razors either. Same move dropshippers make today, source it cheap, put your name on it, sell the brand instead of the product. Except instead of an Alibaba supplier, it was a Korean manufacturer named Dorco, and instead of running ads to call traffic, they slapped a subscription on it. You may think it was a dollar blade. It wasn't. Not really. The cheapest plan, the Humble Twin, was $1 plus $2 shipping for 5 2-blade cartridges. The 4-blade ran $6 a month, the 6-blade ran $9, and the $6 plan was the one most people actually landed on. The dollar number was more of a front door than an actual price. That's what it was built for. Meanwhile, Gillette owned 70% of the market before Dollar Shave Club even existed. A handle cost them almost nothing to make. The cartridges sold for a few dollars each at high margins. That's why Procter & Gamble, the same company behind Tide, Pampers, and Crest, paid $57 billion for Gillette back in 2005. Blades were just a license to print money. There's usually two ways to beat a bigger competitor: undercut them on price or outmarket them on personality. Dollar Shave Club didn't pick one. They did both. Cheaper blades wrapped in a brand people actually wanted to be part of. Watch what that combo actually did. 12,000 orders on day one. Doesn't sound like much. But that's the day the machine started, and it didn't stop for the next few years. Revenue went $3.5 million. The next year, 19, then 65. By 2015, they'd hit 152 million, and 2016, roughly 240. The engine was a 3-move funnel, not complicated. First, a persona. The ad wasn't for men, it was for a specific guy. Young, hates overpaying, allergic to corporate marketing. Every joke was aimed at him. Second, a subscription at the center, not a one-time purchase with a subscribe box bolted on. The subscription was the product. Third, a first offer so cheap it felt stupid to say no. $1 a month, dangled right next to a $6 and a $9 option, so both of those suddenly looked like the responsible choice. By 2017, Dollar Shave Club owned 47% of online razor sales, while Gillette had only 23. A company that made nothing had lapped the biggest consumer brand in the category. No joke. And that's exactly when the math turned. You'd think a company doing this well has nothing to hide. Here's what the growth story hit. A few months earlier, in July 2016, right at the peak of all that growth, founder Michael Dubin sold the Dollar Shave Club to Unilever, about $1 billion cash. But he didn't walk away. He stayed on as CEO for 5 more years, right through everything you're about to hear. Unilever's a consumer goods giant most people don't clock by name, but they own Dove, Axe, Vaseline, Hellmann's, hundreds of household brands. If it's in your bathroom or your fridge, there's a decent chance Unilever made it. And Unilever didn't chase the razors. They wanted the data. Direct to consumer meant Dollar Shave Club knew exactly who was buying, when, and why. Something a company that mostly sells through Walmart and Target never gets to see. And there was a rival to Needle. Gillette's owned by Procter & Gamble, Unilever's biggest global competitor. And until this deal, Unilever didn't have a single razor brand to fight back with. And here's the part that explains everything after it. At the time of the acquisition, Dollar Shave Club was generating substantial revenue, hundreds of millions, and still wasn't profitable. Unilever weren't blindsided, because the unprofitability wasn't a secret. Reporters were writing about it the same week the deal closed. They just bet their scale and retail muscle could fix it. And it's the exact same mistake most Shopify stores make, chasing revenue growth without checking if each new customer is actually worth what it costs to get them. Suppose a customer costs $25 $50 to acquire and produces only 12 of profit before canceling. A low entry price can increase conversion, but it makes retention more important, not less. The first order is not the win, but the payback period is. Look, most men don't go through 4 cartridges a month. They go through 1, maybe 3 max, but not 4. So the box showed up faster than anyone could use it. And what happens when you've got a pile of blades sitting in the bathroom cabinet? You cancel. You stockpiled your way out of the subscription. Then it got worse. In 2017, Gillette did something it had never done in its whole history. Cut prices up to 20% off, a 4-pack of blades dropping from $20 to $15. The weird cheaper edge evaporated overnight. They were selling razors below break-even and calling it growth. It was closer to a donation with a landing page. Now Dollar Shave Club had 2 problems: expensive ads to find new customers and no reason for existing ones to stay. Unilever didn't just watch it happen, they tried to fix it. Dubbin stepped down as CEO in 2021, replaced by an executive from Sur La Table. They finally left digital only and pushed into Walmart, and they tried upselling subscribers into higher margin products like cologne, hair cream, and sunscreen. And yeah, none of it landed. These were customers who came for one thing: the cheapest possible razor. You don't upsell someone into a premium tier after spending years training them to expect the discount bin. In 2023, Unilever sold the majority of the company to a private equity firm called Nexus Capital, brought in yet another CEO, and admitted the acquisition did not deliver as expected. Consumer math built it, operator math killed it. The new CEO, Larry Bodner, actually advised on that sale before he took the job. His read on what went wrong: they neutered the voice of the brand. They tried to make it too corporate, and they lost that irreverent, on-the-edge humor. If you've ever handed your brand voice to an agency and watched it get sanded down into something safer, that's the same mistake, just at billion-dollar scale. Look, since Nexus took over, Unilever and Nexus have never given anyone an actual number. But you can still see what they're doing, just not what they're making. And what they're doing is loud. A relaunch campaign built to get the old irreverent voice back. An ad about a swearing bullshit meter that got rejected from a Super Bowl slot.
Bullshit.
This bullshit meter says that your overpriced razor has a bunch of stuff you don't need.
It's got blades made from ancient samurai swords.
Bullshit.
Oh.
So they just ran it everywhere else instead. A whole campaign built from real customer submissions instead of professional actors, because you don't need a production budget for that. You need customers who already like you. Then they did something they'd never done before: launched the women's line. And when they did, they ran 2 completely different ads. One traditionally filmed and one AI generated, just to see which one actually worked. Both beat the category average by double digits on purchase intent. You may think the guy running the company would call this one right. Bodner guessed the AI version would land with Gen Z on TikTok. Turns out it actually performed best with women 50 and older. He was wrong about his own ad. He just found out because he tested it instead of trusting his gut. Look, you don't need his research budget to do the same thing. 2 ad variations and the willingness to let the numbers override your assumption is enough. That's the difference between guessing and checking. Most Shopify stores never bother finding out. And somewhere in the middle of all that, they opened a brand new headquarters in Durham, North Carolina. Ribbon cutting and everything. Whatever this is, it isn't a company quietly dying anymore. Let's walk their funnel and see what they're actually doing with it. Right from the top, this is their store today. Let's look what they have. Oh, the first thing that hits you, a pop-up. 1 mystery offer, question marks over the product, no price shown, and you have to type your email just to find out what it costs. $2.50. Same move as the $2.50 entry tier from the original pricing tiers. Get them in cheap and get their email while you're at it. Onto the product page. All this for $2.50. You just pick a color and move on. And right next to it, you've already got the option to subscribe and choose your own delivery and billing cycle. Scroll down and here's the part actually worth pausing on. 2 boxes side by side. The starter set and future shipments. One tells you exactly what ships today, the other tells you exactly what ships next and what it costs. No surprise charge a month later, and it's on the page before you've even added anything to your cart. Now just below it, trust badges, and this one's the important part. Total flexibility, in their own words: pause, modify, or cancel anytime. If your store doesn't have this, you're leaking real money. Now add to cart and you can adjust the subscription pace right there too. No separate settings page, no digging around. That kind of control is exactly what customers want. Next, there's also some upsells below, but we'll skip those for now. Let's move on to checkout. We see that subscription subscription kicks in next month, $16, recurring as expected. That's the men's side. But this year, for the first time ever, let's look at their new women's line. We have the same entry product as for men, at the same price, and we can see they're expanding their women's line heavily. Shave oils, scrubs, different bundles. Now look at this. When we add the standard item to the cart, we get the men's upsells. If she's already buying for herself, the smarter cross-sell is more of what she's already buying, or something complementary, like women's razors. Not a completely different line entirely. Small miss, but still a miss. That $250 entry price is still doing exactly what it did back in 2012, and the product line keeps growing sideways into more shave category items instead of some random grab bag. Both of those still right. So here's what actually went wrong years before any of this comeback stuff started. They grew customers faster than those customers ever paid them back. They handed their brand voice to a bigger company and watched it get sanded down. And whatever pause or skip option existed back then, it wasn't the first thing a customer saw before they hit cancel. And nobody was watching for the obvious pattern, blades piling up faster than anyone could use them until the customer already had one foot out the door. The first two take a mindset shift. This last one you can start fixing today, and it breaks down into 3 moves. 3 things in order. First, let people pause and skip. The guy with 30 blades in his drawer isn't trying to quit. He just needs a month off. Match how often you ship to how fast he actually goes through the product. And that flexibility becomes the reason he stays instead of the reason he's gone. Second, bundle value. Look back at that starter kit. Razor, shave butter, and samples at one price. That's a bundle, whether they call it that or not. And it's why the box feels worth it even before the subscription kicks in. If your store's still selling one item at a time, you're leaving money on the table every single order. Third, don't wait for the cancellation. When someone does cancel, don't just let them go. Ask why. If someone's skipping shipments already, it's a chance to offer another product or a longer gap before they cancel outright. The cancellation flow itself is data. Most stores throw it away. We have a separate video on how to set that up on your store with Kaching Subscriptions. I'll leave the link below. A low entry price like that dollar offer works really well, and Dollar Shave Club proved people will bite, but it only pays off if you keep them around long enough to earn back what that cheap first order cost you. Take a store at a $35 average order. A customer who stays 8 months is worth $280, but stretch that to 10 months, same customers, nothing new sold, and each one's now worth $350 on 1,000 customers. That's $70,000 extra dollars. Dollar Shave Club paid $1 billion to learn this lesson. Honestly, you get it free. If this made you rethink your subscription setup, drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe. There's way more stuff that we break down every week.